back. Sorry about that. Not really sure what was causing that, but I assume it was just some program on my laptop taking more resources than it was supposed to. So I just shut everything down and reopened it, and now it seems to be working fine. So we should be good. But yes, there was a little bit of an earthquake that Catboy got to see as I was fiddling with the camera, just trying to make sure that the autofocus and everything was the way it was supposed to be. But yeah, welcome to another Saturday stream, guys. Good to have you here. Catboy, Angry Meatball, thanks for showing up as always. Today we are going to be working on these demigods, or these bones of demigods that we've kind of put together on Wednesday, so that we can see what we come up with in terms of structuring some of these. I doubt that we'll get through the whole list tonight, as like I said, it's most of these are kind of like very thin ideas that hopefully will stretch out into something more usable. So I could see that some of these might take us a good amount of time. And then we also just have a really good list. So this is one that we're definitely going to have to circle back to and do another deep dive for somewhere down the line. But as always, I'll kind of leave it to you guys to point me in the direction of which ones you're interested in working on, and then we'll just flesh them out. One thing that I will be talking about, not much, but just, mentioning it every hour or so, just so people are aware of it. A old coworker of mine, dude's honestly like a little brother to me, is going through a pretty hard time and needs some help to get out of a pretty tough situation with his family. So do not feel obligated to donate, but there is a GoFundMe link. If you drop !donate, it will show the GoFundMe link. So I'll probably drop that in the chat once an hour, just so it is still there and easy to access for people. The donation goal is only $400 for him to be able to kind of get away from the situation he's in. So any help is appreciated, obviously by him, but by me as well. And I believe he is doing that GoFundMe until the end of the month. So I will at least have that link available on the channel as long as he is running that fundraiser. So, like I said, don't feel obligated to donate. Anything helps, even if you just share it with people who you think might either be able to share it or would be inclined to donate. It goes a long way. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started for tonight. But yeah, just feel free to throw out a suggestion and we'll get started. How are you guys doing tonight? I know you say you're doing well, Catboy, but how are you doing, Angry Meatball? In a mood most foul? What's wrong? ¿Qué pasó? What happened? It's not worth mentioning. Okay, fair enough. Well, if you change your mind, let me know. But I hope whatever it is, it gets better soon. Probably in Toshishiro's folder. let's start here. What sort of characters are you most likely to need in your game first? Which are the players the most likely to hear about or go looking for? Um, I mean, it's a pretty broad range. In the beginning of the actual campaign, there would probably not be a whole lot of interaction with most of these entities, but um, it's a good question. Yeah, because typically when I do these streams, I don't try to like, well, either way. To answer your question, there's not a particular direction that we have to go in terms of trying to have something prepared early, because until they reach like the end of their tutorial esque sessions, so like until they're level probably 5, they're not going to be dealing with demigod esque creatures. Are we going to be pulling from this list for allies or enemies? Potentially. It just depends on what we come up with. But yes, there are demigods that could be considered enemies of the players, depending on their actions, or allies for the same reason. Because keep in mind, we're building a world setting more than anything else. So it really is going to depend on the group and what they decide to do. I want to try to keep it pretty open. So, like for instance, I know there were a couple on here that definitely seemed a bit more sinister in nature than friendly, but that doesn't necessarily have to mean that that sinister creature would not be on the side of the party depending on what they chose to do, like a life leecher or cannibal, you know. Now, cannibal probably is a little bit more wild, where you never know what you're going to get with that. Or, well, I guess you know what you're going to get. You're going to get eaten, but... but yeah, I would just pick whatever sounds the most interesting to you, so that way it's easier for us to generate ideas quickly on it, so we can get through as many of them as possible. And then when we have a more fleshed out idea, it'll be easier for me to then look at, you know, the fortunate and whatever the fortunate becomes and say, wow, this would be really useful if I put him here. As opposed to like trying to build the perfect thing from the start. I mean, any cunt that calls themselves depravity doesn't seem like they're going to be generally going to be pro people. That's fair. That's a fair one. That's a fair point. The chief is the most sinister. Or, no, you didn't say chief, you said chef. I was going to say the chief. The chef is the most sinister? Is he feeding the cannibal? Is that what he's doing? He's cooking people? What was it? The little chef is what we called him, right? Pretty sure. Damn, we got a big ass list. A chef whose dishes makes miracles. Hell yeah. Clearly, chefs are just the most sinister of people. I don't know about that. I mean, yeah, you might be right. Actually, I'm trying to think of a nice chef that I've ever met. Not that I know very, very many chefs. You haven't been watching the cooking videos I've been watching? Which cooking videos have you been watching? Mr. Lau seems like a very nice old man. Yeah, you definitely haven't been watching the Gordon Ramsay cooking videos then. Oopsie. Mm-hmm. How many are on the list? Quite a few. Let's see. 1, 2. Well, I guess I could just do this. Just make it easier on myself instead of being a fucking dumbass and counting them. And then I can just. Pretty sure this number. Why the fuck would it do that? That's the most idiotic thing I've ever seen. 74. Should we roll for it? Sure, why not? When in doubt, roll for it. Yeah, let's do this. Let's spin the wheel. Not really, but... Oh, you already span it. I was going to do it on the screen. Here, I'll set it up for next time. And then we can just bounce back. Where is it going to show me my file browser? Maybe not. Oh, yeah, that's right there in front of me. There we go. Alright, so we'll do 43 and then 38. And then we can just roll it on the stream from there. That's an interesting way to do it. If we get a bigger list like this, just rolling for it, I like that. Alright, let's see. I wonder why it's doing that. Whatever. So 38 is the faded. And then 43 is the false teacher. So we will start with the false teacher. And then we will do the faded immediately afterwards. Okay. Alright, guys. What do we think when we hear the false teacher, right? Like these are pretty big concepts or characters that we're working on. So let's just throw out some words. Jim Jones, okay. That's kind of specific. But let's just throw out some things that we think could relate or come to mind when we hear false teacher. And then we can try to build something out of it. Right, so let's see. We need who, what, where, why, or motivation. Okay. Alright, so a cult leader. Cult leader who's trying to do what? Why? I mean, I agree, but Why is this cult leader called the teacher? What is he teaching? Hmm. Yeah, that's what I was just thinking about. That makes the most sense. The false teacher. That's good because the religious text is literally called the teachings of the Blessed Mother. So the fact that that word or root word is still there to teach. So motivation to lead others astray from the main religion of the world. Teachings the Blessed Mother and institute be in state in that institute. More like a mode than a motivation. Well, oh yeah, that's what he's doing, but why? Goal. I'll say goal. Hmm. I'm switching too much between Windows and Mac. There's probably an easier way to do that. Yeah, fair enough. His ego, pride. And how does the false teacher look like? Right? If you come face to face with the false teacher, what do you see? He might go about getting attention he craves by doing that, but the base need is much simpler than any religious doctrine. Fair enough. Hmm. Well, so the thing about this, right? Like in this day and age, he's not just going to be walking around where people are going to see or know where to find him. At least in the time frame, it's it's going to be the kind of thing that by the time period the players would be playing in, a character like this would be someone that gets referenced, right? Like if you were someone who believed in the main religion of the world, they would reference like you know, don't stray the path of the false teacher, or don't let the false teacher lead you astray, you know. So trying to think, assuming that this creature isn't sealed away or killed by something prior to the start of the campaign, where would you be able to find him? Hmm. I'd say probably in the Feywild. As far as what he looks like, yeah, I think a con man makes sense. But right, but we have to assume he's a living, breathing character first and put him in his proper spot. Yeah, no, I agree. I'm just trying to think of both ends simultaneously. Right, obviously, before he ascends or however he's created or born, at some point his start would have been that of like some kind of con artist or schemer or cult leader, and he just ends up being very good at it. Um, I'd probably say that he ends up at that point probably being human or elf in appearance. Interesting. Why the Feywild? Because a couple different reasons. Without trying to say it in a way that does not give as much away. But a creature like that would need to be able to uh, be hard to find after some of his actions, right? Like the way I imagine it is when he becomes a god versus the day and age that the party would be able to interact with him. He has to be either in hiding or very difficult to track down because this is the kind of creature that most other good leaning demi-humans or not demi-humans, excuse me, demigods would want to take out. Like he's the kind of person that would have a big target on his back because his path to ascension to me has to be something like I put down where he basically tricked a large group of people into straying off the path and then feeding his own power, which is how he ascended. I don't imagine this being a creature that was just born as a consequence of the world as a whole. I imagine a man who literally lied, schemed, and stole his way into power. So if he was just walking around in most environments, like the prime material, any other demigod that exists in the prime material that's good leaning is going to have a target on his back. And I also don't imagine that he's one of the more powerful demigods that exists in the world, which means that he probably would not make it as well in realms like the Shadowfell, which might fit, or even the Nine Hells, which would also fit from like this lying, conniving kind of standpoint. But the trickery aspect and the charisma aspect and the fact that this dude in my mind isn't very powerful, I feel like in the Feywild those things get you a little bit further. That power doesn't necessarily have to be something that you use, and unlike the Nine Hells, you don't necessarily have to stick to a contract very particularly. And it's not that he like outlies, like I don't see him like outlying a devil, like tricking a devil into like wordsmithing him, if that makes sense. I see this more as a guy who's just so charismatic that you generally believe what he says, which is why he got so far. Which that charisma screams Feywild to me. And then it's also, kind of thematic because it's a place where it can obviously be very easy to get lost in. I don't know. It's not a final answer, but that's the place that just stands out to me. And like anything else, any of this stuff can be changed later on. But yeah, I really like the idea that this dude, like, somewhere in life, figured out how to make himself substantially more powerful than he was, and just tricked a bunch of people into doing it. Because then it's like it gives you your reason why people of the main religion would reference him, and it like almost feeds into like another reason why the Feywild makes sense to me is because like most creatures in the Feywild are pretty egotistical, but I guess a lot of D&D creatures are egotistical by nature. But like having the main religion recognize that his teachings were dangerous almost feeds into his ego more, right? Like it's not even the power that he wanted, but like the infamy or notoriety. Easier to hide outside of the material plane in general, and somewhere as wild as that is even better. You're forgetting about demons. He could have been a mid-ranking demon. Demons aren't bound to their word, but people routinely make deals with them. Yeah, but in a different sort of way. Demons are just more chaotic in nature, as opposed to like when I think of this creature, I don't think of, I don't know. It just, a demon doesn't stand out to me at all. It's not that I forgot them. It just doesn't. It doesn't speak to me as well as like devil, fae, or even Shadowfell, just from the nature of what this creature does, because it's more thought provoking or focused as opposed to chaotic, which demons are very much chaotic, even if you can make deals with them, and some of them obviously can be very intelligent. Chaos is the number one thing for them, as opposed to, he's not necessarily trying to end the world order, he's just trying to get people to notice him. But either way, like I said, if you choose to use this creature, it doesn't have to be in the Feywild. That's just where it stood out to me. What else do we need to know about this guy? Do we think the false teacher is let's see, you said You've never had to interact with Grezit. Yeah. No, I have not. Uh, do we think that the false teacher should be his true name, or is that just a reference name? Right? Like, what would his name in life have been? What would his true name be? Actually, let's do this. Let's see if there's a name that. He's a con man. He would have done everything in his power to hide his name. Yeah, but he still has one. I mean, I could still hide this information, but for the sake of building out a character, right? Whether he hid it well or not, he can't hide it from me. I'm God in this instance. Let's see. There we go. Let's see if there's a name from here that stands out. I say don't write one. Okay. I don't see why we wouldn't write one. There's no disadvantage to having one. You don't have to use it. Just to me, the name helps me generate like the character's backstory. Because assuming once again that this is a human or elf that ascended into semi-godhood, there had to be something that led to that. So, and that name never has to be player facing. But either way. Okay, let's see. The lack of the name is the thing you're looking for. Uh, I mean, I'm not sure what you mean. And it's also kind of a confliction because if his whole thing was the attention seeking, right? Like, even if he didn't want to use his given name, people would want him to know who he is. So I don't, and you also, from the perspective of this creature, the creature would not call himself the false teacher. That doesn't make sense. Because if he goes around calling himself the false teacher, that's a pretty dead giveaway that he's not the guy that's on your side, right? So this guy had to have some sort of name that he used, whether it was a con name or a name that his followers or worshippers called him. But, you know, like there has to be not something, once again, not from the perspective of when you're inside the campaign, because by that point his name will be nearly irrelevant, but in terms of this character's growth or story, there would have to be at least something that he was called. Catboy says, I can't help but notice Dr. Trait's name on that list every time. And then Angry Miguel says, imagine a man who uses and discards names so frequently that no one name describes him any better than another. That's your character. I guess. I don't know. I mean, I don't know that this is that type of con man. You know, like if we're coming from the perspective of a guy who literally is almost the antithesis to the main religion, I feel like there's going to be something that is referenced. But either way, we don't have to come up with that right now. So we can flesh this out some more as we think of other things. But let's go ahead and start working on number 38 then, which was the Fated. You could use the name of some legendary hero or other such figure from the world's history, someone whose appearance is lost to time. That's true. Alright, so what do we think of when we hear the Fated? Okay. Someone chosen by God, destiny for something bad. Okay. So those are both options or directions we could pursue. Kind of like the idea of it being a group. Like if it's a group, I almost feel that like it would be a group of individuals that maybe have like a history of um, prophecy. Like I could see it going when it, like looking at both directions, right? So starting with the group, if we do the route of like the Fated being a group, they could be like a group of demigods that are the like primary source of prophecy in the world, right? So maybe there's like very little to nothing known about them, but where I guess this point of fleshing it out, but however they convey their prophecies to the world, obviously they would have to have some track record of these prophecies coming true. And there are prophecies in the world that I've been meaning to flesh out anyway, so I need, this would be an interesting avenue for where those prophecies come from, is from a group of demigods. And then going the alternative route, right, like someone destined to do something terrible, maybe the Fated is what the prophecy is about, right? So like you could have it be like it could be either side of the coin. So like maybe you have a prophecy of something terrible, but the only reference that you get to this person or catalyst of whatever the terrible thing is the Fated. So you don't know who the Fated is, what they are, like anything realistically about them except the fact that this person referenced in prophecy as the fated is the one who will destroy the world or bring ruin or unbalance or whatever you want the prophecy to be. So at that point, they would be less of a demigod, but more of a uh, influential figure in terms of folklore, legend, prophecy, whatever. I don't know. Let me know what you think. While you do that, I'm filling my water real fast. BRB. If I can find the button. There we go. And we are back. Having a prophecy will probably lead to questions about who wrote it, whether or not more exists, etc. Might be more work in the future. Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. Once again, the whole point is for it to be a large world. So it's not like, at least in the sense of me taking these ideas and then expanding them into my own campaign, right? Like having to do more back end work on some of these ideas is not a big deal. Like it's honestly part of the point. But um, obviously, from the perspective of if it's a group, then that's not really like a question because. So I assume you mean from Catboy's standpoint, which is someone who's destined to do something bad. But yeah, that was kind of my point to my earlier mention, is that I already know that there are certain prophecies that are going to come from a source in the world, but I hadn't decided what that source was going to be. So I kind of like the idea of there being this like potential group of demigods referred to as the fated, who then are the vehicle for delivery of um, these prophecies. So, but yeah, there has to be a source from somewhere. Prophecies don't just come out of thin air. Or I guess they could. It could be made up. I just want to warn against player-oriented prophecies. Haven't seen one go well. No, these wouldn't be player-oriented. These would be world-oriented. They have nothing to do with the individual players. And I actually have some pretty good practice in like writing um what am I trying to say, like if I was going to do something where I'm trying, like basically telling the player something's going to happen in the form of like their own prophecy, I just do it in the form of a vision. And it's not easy, but I'm very good at making those play out in a way that's not not like railroady, right? Because you just tie it into the bigger set pieces that are hard to avoid in the first place, without them just choosing not to partake in the game. But no, when I say prophecy, I mean like things related to the world. Circular cryptic bullshit. I wouldn't call it circular. Cryptic maybe in some cases. But I think prophecies are ways to leave hints on some of the bigger themes of the world without without having to use a lot of exposition, or without having to use a lot of, like, prophecies can be a very simple storytelling device that allows you to tell what a major theme is without directly giving it away, because it is cryptic, which means you can make some things mean a lot of things, which is good. But they have to be done well. And at the end of the day, it's D&D, so it's all bullshit. That last word, it's all made up. It's all BS. So it be what it be. Oh, damn, it's already 9 o'clock. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and put this in here like I said I would do. Just in case anyone new joins in the next hour, it's a little bit easier to find. Alright. But I don't know. I mean, so assuming it's a group, what do we think this group looks like? Because obviously if we go the route of the individual, we want to keep it very loose, in the sense like we don't necessarily want to know what this individual is going to look like or appear as. As an individual DM, you might know because there's like whatever prophecy you use would then be kind of the determiner, right? If the prophecy is the world will be cut in half, you then have to think of who is going to be this creature that's going to fulfill said prophecy. But from a broad standpoint, from a Aiden's Archive standpoint, we don't need to add any detail in terms of that. But for the group, when you hear a group called the Fated, what does that look like to you? What kind of creature do we imagine? Well, in fiction, the best prophecies bring random people together from the farthest reaches. It's fair. So either the least likely individual or a group that would not otherwise coalesce on its own. Goblin hero or a cobloid. Hmm. Yeah, but what does the group look like? imagine some kind of freaky looking. I don't know, dude. Okay. I'll go ahead and spin the wheel. Let's see. Let me actually open, close. Or no, I say spin the wheel because it's still listed as wheel spin from the from the giveaway. But damn, that was so fast. It doesn't actually spin it. Oh, there we go. And stop. 70. Alright. Let's see what 70 is. Oh man. It's kind of early to be doing this one, but alright. The Dungeon Master. Oh my god. So, I was thinking about this a little bit on Wednesday when we initially brought it up, but on one of the previous streams, we were throwing out ideas for like mega dungeons, right? So, my immediate thought is when I hear like Dungeon Master as a demigod, right? It'd be like the Hallister replacement for Undermountain, right? So, like, your mega dungeon in your world could be controlled or maneuvered or operated as by the dungeon master. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are, if you have any alternatives, but feel free to let me know. But that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Catboy Tad said, widely known as the biggest dick in the universe. That could be true. That could be canon, you know? Like, this dude could be actually known for being like a giant dickhead. Actually, let me probably go back to the right screen. There we go. That's better. That would probably help just a little bit. Dang, it starts at 5:30 and goes to midnight? Oh, wow. Okay. Who else would invent fun house traps? I don't know. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. So I'm going to say master of the mega dungeon. Who, goals, motivation, where, mega dungeon of the world. Oh, actually, setting. Whatever. I feel like it should be one word in this case. Motivation. What motivates the dungeon master? I would think that he enjoys fucking with people. That's gotta be part of it. Boredom. Yep. Okay. Boredom. Now, do we think that so? Hollister's not trapped, right? If I remember correctly, Hollister could leave if he wanted to, but I think there's something about the history of Undermountain, like actually has something to do with elves, if I remember correctly. That some like basically it just has an effect on his mind. Like Undermountain is actually part of what makes Hollister crazy. But do we think the dungeon master is trapped in his dungeon? Is that why he can't leave? Is he tied to his dungeon? Why doesn't he just go outside? Why doesn't he go play kickball? That's the big one. Is why this powerful demigod just stays in a big ass cave for all intents and purposes and just messes with slash kills people. Let's see. I guess I need to buy a sombrero. be funny. Let's see. The dungeon is a laboratory to study sentient creatures. To quote Terry Pratchett, some humans would do anything to see if it was possible to do it. If you put a large switch in some cave somewhere with a sign on it saying, "End of the world switch, please do not touch," the paint wouldn't even have time to dry. Yeah, you're probably right. Okay. Let's say that's his goal. Yeah, I agree. I think that's good. He uses the dungeon both as a way to cure his boredom, come up with new and interesting ideas, and then really as a way to test and push people to keep going forward. Alright, I guess I'm gonna buy this fucking thing. Should I do... Yeah, I'll do that. That's a cart. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think Dungeon Master is pretty easy because he's more of a personality than he is a character that your players would probably ever interact with. Because if, you know, in all honesty, if you're going to make one that's very interaction heavy, you might just run Dungeon of the Mad Mage. But also known as the world's biggest dick. I like that. Excuse me. Okay. Let's hop on back. Let's spin that wheel. No, what? Okay, I gotta remember to hit start. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 20. Okay. 20 it is. Let's see. 20. The King of Tricks. Okay. Did either of you ever read Grimtooth's Traps from 3.5? I did not. Alright, so this is another one that King of Tricks immediately jumps as a Feywild-esque creature. Like, almost like, I would imagine this is a creature that's probably born in the Feywild originally. As opposed to, like, the false teacher being someone who went to the Feywild. I would think this is a creature that's always existed in the Feywild. Whether or not he's an Archfey, I don't know about that, but could be. I'm picturing someone like Loki. Same here. Like a more fairy-esque version of Loki. Now, is King of Tricks the name we want to use? I feel like we could make a better name than King of Tricks. Like Trick Master. Can't imagine a lesser Fae having the title King of anything. Well, I mean, if it's like Loki, it could be self-given. The King of Tricks is a rabbit, if memory serves. I don't know that the Tricks rabbit is a king specifically, but I understood the joke. Did anyone like Trix cereal? As a matter of fact, like, I don't even remember what Trix tastes like. Oh, I probably didn't change my payment method. That would probably help. If I use the correct card. Just a little bit. Okay, then if I go back. Okay, cool. Cowboy says, "Oh my god, I did not get the joke initially." I don't think I ate cereal until I was an adult, at which point I found most of it awful. Were there any that you liked? Personally, I'm a Lucky Charms Cinnamon Toast Crunch kind of guy. Those two smack. There's also this like Special K cereal that has like peaches in it. Obviously, like not regular peaches, like I forget what the process is called. Either way, that one's pretty good. I like Frost Mini Wheats. That's another one. I have no issue with Chex. Let me look at Chex. I don't even remember eating Chex. Isn't Chex literally the... Yeah, it's the wheat one too. Okay. I don't know. It's probably because I'm American that I didn't mess with Chex. Like plain Chex. Because like at least Catboy's doing like the Frost mini wheats, which have like... I don't know, what do they put on those mini wheats? You know, they're just putting sugar on it, to be honest. You call it whatever you want, it's just processed sugar on top of your mini wheats. Angry Meatball says, things that are made of just corn or wheat. Why do you need powdered sugar first thing in the morning? I don't. But you have to understand, Angry Meatball, right? This is a different place and time. This is a different place and time, my man. You know? The reason why I need powdered sugar on my cereal as an adult is because that's what I was given as a child. So, my body and mind adapted to it. You're absolutely right. That's why I like that Special K one, because when I'm trying to eat a little bit more healthy, you know, that one doesn't really have any of that in there. But Catboy says, Chex is a cereal? I thought it was just part of a snacks mix. No, it came in its own cereal box. Angry Meatball says, the old folks will tell you that the snack mix used to be made in the home from the cereal. I did not know that. That's an interesting fact. Whew. Hmm. No, let's see, because that would be in frame unless they were on the side. Hmm. Yeah, that probably worked. Chex cereal. I didn't realize it came in so many flavors. You got honey nut. You got chocolate. Oh, is that it? They got all these. Oh no, you got cinnamon. You still don't know what a honey nut? That's a great question. What is a honey nut? Mm. It's bee testicle? No, it's not. And no, I don't think it has anything to do with peanut butter. I'm looking at it right now, though. Oh, okay. So apparently, up until 2006, Honey Nut Cheerios literally had almonds in it, like actual almonds. That's why it's called Honey Nut, because it had honey flavoring and almonds. And now they use like an almond substitute or something, like some kind of almond flavoring. So it's like literally honey and almonds. Uh, it's not meant to. It's just meant to roll off the tongue. That's why they do it that way. But it's meant to be two separate flavors, not one combined thing. Peanut butter. Well, that one makes a little bit more sense because it is kind of like butter in terms of its consistency, but it's made from peanuts. Is it not? I mean, it's definitely made from peanuts. So, among a few other things. But honey nut is just not actually a thing. It's two things combined together. Oh, and I guess some of the old cereal boxes even say it. Like one of them's, man, this must be old AF. A sweetened toasted oat cereal with crushed nuts and honey. I don't know. I don't know what's weird with peanut butter. I think peanut butter's pretty great. Peanut butter is only a product in America. And that's why we're number one. Hell yeah. It doesn't exist anywhere else. Well, I'm sorry for everywhere else, but peanut butter is pretty fantastic. Yeah, peanut butter is great. It's very potent. What kind of peanut butter have you eaten? Like what brand? Cowboy, do you prefer creamy peanut butter or chunky peanut butter? Oh, okay. I guess I shouldn't do that on stream, but oh well. I don't know. You like crunchy? Ooh. Oh no. Hell no. I mean, teach their own. There's obviously a reason why it exists. There are plenty of people who like crunchy. For me, mine's gotta be smooth. I can't do crunchy. I don't like the consistency. Ugh. Wow. We learned something new almost every stream. Today I learned that it's not actually honey nut Cheerios, it's honey and nuts. Same with me and smooth. You don't like smooth at all? What? That's wild. Well, hey. It is what it is. I like bourbon. If that's worth anything. I mean, it is. I don't know. I don't know how it pertains to what we were talking about, but it's a nice little fact. There's nothing wrong with that. You like your bourbon? I need to measure the inside of this table. Bourbon is manly. Welcome to the chat, Moon Spiders. I'll eat it if that's what's available, but I don't prefer it. I guess. I mean, it's like I say, it's each their own, you know. That's why the options exist. Bourbon is good with Dr. Pepper. It's the first. I've never heard of that before. How you doing, Moon Spiders? Long time no see. I don't know if you saw my message, but I did order your disc plate, so it should arrive here in the next few days. Bourbon is specifically Tennessee whiskey. I did not know that either. But I don't drink, so I don't know a whole lot about alcohol. Fantastic. I'm so excited for the plate. That's a lot of O's. But I'm glad to hear it. Glad to hear that you're excited. I'm excited too. Yeah. I just need to get Junior's account his mug. And then I'll have given out all the prizes. You know what? No. I'll just order it. When I'm done with the stream, I don't have my wallet with me. I generally don't drink either. Alcohol is too expensive. Well, it just depends what you buy. Alcohol doesn't have to be that expensive. But it can definitely get up there. I've bought way too much alcohol for a guy who doesn't drink. So when people look in my pantry or look in my fridge, it's usually very confusing. I also like some non-alcoholic beverages. Like there's this like butterscotch beer, but it's not like actually beer. But it comes in a beer bottle. It always throws people off. When my friends come over and I'm drinking it, they'll like immediately ask if I've started drinking. You know, with obvious concern because I haven't had an alcoholic beverage in a very long time. What were we? We're looking at the King of Tricks. Let's see. Maybe you can help us out, Moon Spiders. Talk to us about the King of Tricks. We're doing Demigods this week. I don't know if you have any ideas in regards to what the King of Tricks could be. We're thinking of a Loki-esque type character. You said I secretly drink when I'm alone. I don't. Angry Meatball says, isn't it convenient that our very own King of Tricks is here with us? That's true. Moonspires is kind of like our resident King of Tricks. Catboy would be our King of Puns. That's good timing. But yeah, what does a King of Tricks want? Because I guess that would be a little different from Loki. Loki obviously wants to be, you know... I don't know. I don't even think Loki knows what he wants, to be honest. chaos. Okay. Now, do we think these tricks are malicious in intent, or are they purely like whimsical? Not necessarily that he doesn't. How I say it? Even if it's not malicious in intent, he can do malicious things. But I kind of imagine this as a creature that just literally does anything that he thinks will be funny, no matter how dark that might actually be. Chaos to have fun. Both he can take pleasure in other sufferings, but that's not the only thing he enjoys. I would say he more doesn't care if his victims get hurt, not that he sets out to hurt people. Yeah, fair enough. Nothing quite like watching people suffer. Like us when we were laughing at that little girl crying earlier today. Uh, I was more so laughing at Scott, but yeah, I guess. Not so much the girl crying, but more so the fact that Scott made her cry. And then he was still adamant that he was not going to share his toys. What was really funny was when they were trying to hit the pinata. Some of those kids were more prepared than the others. Man, Moonspires just loves sharing your dark secrets, huh? I mean, I wouldn't call it a dark secret. He can say most of whatever he wants, you know? As long as it's true. It doesn't bother me. But it was kind of funny. Like I said, not so much the girls crying, but this little girl goes up to this little boy and asks to just see his toy. And he tells her no, with no hesitation, no remorse, nothing. He ain't having it. And the girl just starts crying. Kids are wild, man. That's why I'm not ready for kids. I need at least a few more years before I can deal with my kid acting like that. I've seen you inflict pain for fun. When have I inflicted pain for fun? Buzz? Oh. I don't know that that's for fun. At least I wasn't doing it randomly to people without their consent. Idiota. Laughing at the thought of people suffering. I would not call that suffering. is funny though. Plus, I suffered with all of those people. Like that one time with the pepper spray. I could have let you guys suffer alone, but I didn't. Okay. Well, we're gonna move along just so we can keep going. See what else we can come up with. So I'm gonna go ahead and spin that wheel. Let's see. I don't know. I need to stop saying spin the wheel. Roll the dice. Maybe I should just rename the button. 3, 2, 1, 5. Okay. PRB, this cripple needs more food. Bro, don't talk about your wife like that. What's wrong with you? God damn, man. Jesus Christ. Oh, this one's already kind of fleshed out. Alright, well then I'm going to re-roll it. And then I'll just copy it over. And 3, 2, 1, 12. The Lone Tyrant. Army Boss says he's done a lot of work on Magni. Yeah, I mean, if you have any additional information to share, feel free to do so. Okay, I'll be right back. I need to use the restroom real quick. BRB. And we are back. Oof. Alright, let's see. Angry Meatball says, Lone Tyrant reminds me of a character from Magic, Cedrus, the Traitor King. His world was being magically ripped apart, and he didn't know how to save his kingdom. So he made a deal with the devil in order to gain the personal power to protect his people. But the power began to erode his mind and soul until he forgot why he made the deal in the first place and started to hunger for more and more power. Eventually his royal guard turned on him and tried to assassinate him, but they failed. The fight lasted long enough for the remaining citizens to flee the capital city and never return, only ever referring to it as Grixis, the world in their language for traitor, or the word in their language for traitor. Interesting. So what happened to him? He just stays in the castle by himself after that, or what? What language do they speak? Because obviously we couldn't copy paste that over, but I could see some small revisions in order to make it suitable. Like you could instead have it. You could have the same concept. So like, instead of it being a world ripped apart, maybe it's a kingdom that's being invaded. So he makes a deal with the devil to be able to protect the kingdom. The power that the devil grants him erodes his mind, and he ends up thirsting for more power. And in the end, maybe it's not his royal guard, but maybe it's his mages or whatever. Some group tries to stop him, but when they attempt to do so, they end up, not able to kill him, but effectively like send him away somewhere else. Because otherwise, this guy's just walking around as a big problem. But I would imagine his mind has to be pretty far gone. So this is a creature that sounds like it would be great in the Shadowfell. He becomes a vassal of Malfgor, the devil he bargained with. He rules a host of zombies. Cool. They don't specify the language exactly, but the kingdom was once called Vithia. We could extrapolate a name from that. Hmm. Hmm. I like that. It's a nice story. It's a nice lesson to be learned. It doesn't necessarily need to be. Huh. Uh, Angry Meatball says, based on this, I'm imagining a single living person, humanoid in a city of the dead who is angry and lonely and probably hasn't learned his lesson. Uh, yeah, I mean, I'm more so thinking that he can't learn his lesson because his mind is just no longer capable of seeing anything but power and rule. Yeah, exactly, Catboy. Like, I don't think it's a matter of him learning or not learning it because I don't think he can. I think that was probably the sacrifice that was made with the uh, deal with the devil is that his mind has now been altered in a way that, you know, can't be changed back. And so this is now effectively not the same person. And so as he grows into this power hungry tyrant and becomes more and more powerful, they put a stop to him by banishing him. I could see the rest fitting though, as like maybe he finds a city in the Shadowfell, kills everyone within this shadow city, raises them as dead and servant to him, and he is the lone living creature in this city. Um, Hence the name, the Lone Tyrant. Mm, what is the name for the? Just look it up real quick. Shatterkai. Yeah. So it could be like a city of Shatterkai. Let's do the paste with no formatting. I don't think I can do that. Whatever. what would we name these cities? There'd have to be a city before and a city after. I guess plausibly he could just use the name twice, but what do you think? What would we call these cities of the Lone Tyrant? It is past 10 o'clock. So let me do that. Alright, go ahead and roll it. I can always come up with the cities later, but if you guys have city idea names, feel free to throw those out for the Lone Tyrant as well. And let's roll it. 3, 2, 1, 35. I've always liked Karnak. Okay. Hey, does Karnak mean anything? Angry Meatball? Hey, Ron Roscoe. Welcome to the stream. How are you doing tonight? Let's see. Karnak was a city in ancient Egypt. Ron Roscoe is actually we raided Roscoe on Wednesday, I believe. Is when we saw you. Let's see. Catboy says hello. Pretty good. Just got back from a live sesh. How was that? How'd that go? And then we were doing a cannibal is up next. We are currently doing our deep dive for the week, Ron Roscoe, just to fill you in since it's your first time on the stream. Normally the way that we tend to do things is Mondays and Wednesdays we do kind of like a general idea gathering session. So like on Wednesday of this week we came up with 74 very basic entry point ideas for potential demigods or like powerful creatures. And so today, on Saturdays, we do our deep dive where we kind of expand on those ideas and flesh them out and make them into something that's either usable or close enough to where a DM can take it and then kind of make it their own. So we're doing something a little different today. Normally, I just let the chat pick, but instead we decided why don't we just roll some dice and see how that goes. So I've got a little 74-sided dice thing pulled up on the web, and every time we kind of slow down, I've just been re-rolling it. So now we need to figure out, and maybe you can help us with this, how do we make a demigod out of a cannibal? That's what we rolled. That's what's up next. That's all we've got to start with. What do we think of when we think of a demigod that is a cannibal? Actually, the first thing I think of is maybe his ascension is tied to his cannibalism. Like maybe he comes from a race where they're like more naturally imbued with magic. And so after eating so many of his people, like he naturally grew in the progression of power. But I don't know. That's why we do these. So what do you guys think? It says, went well, getting better each time. That's good to hear. I think we have to define cannibalism first. Okay. Well, I'm open to interpretations, but cannibalism is pretty, reminds me of a lich. Fair enough. Hey, personalities. Good to see you. It doesn't have to mean actual flesh eating, right? Like it's D&D, we can make it whatever we want. We could say that, like this cannibal, and the name doesn't even have to be a cannibal when it's all said and done. That's just our jumping off point. So it could be that he cannibalizes magic, right? So maybe this is a creature that literally goes and then steals the power, the magical essence of other creatures from them, making them incapable of casting magic. And then after a certain amount of time, once again ascends through his cannibalism, quote unquote. It could be someone who literally just eats the flesh of other creatures from their race or other humanoids. Obviously, compared to traditional cannibalism, there are quite a few more similar races to humans in D&D. So I would say the cutoff is if assuming that the creature is humanoid, then I would say that cannibalism would be eating anything that is humanoid. Not specifically like if you're an elf, you can only eat elves and that's cannibalism. Because like I mentioned, I mean we said it basically at the same time, but there's way more human-like creatures than just humans in D&D, whereas that is not true obviously here in the real world. Let's see. Can it be souls? Yeah, I mean, it definitely could be souls. Ace Rack? What is Ace Rack? What was the villain from the show Heroes that ate brains and gave people power? Skylar? Oh, yeah, yeah. There you go, Catboy confirming it. But your magic definition is vampirism, cannibalism. I don't know that vampirism is cannibalism. I guess it could be a form of cannibalism. Well, I don't know. And once again, right, like a cannibal is just the jumping off point, right? There could be several different nuances or types of cannibalism within a D&D world, right? Because obviously we don't have magic essence, we don't have vampires, at least not that we know of. We don't have other types of humanoids, right? So it's obviously a little murky. What's important is what would this cannibal be doing? Is he a cannibal in the sense that he eats the souls of other creatures? Is he a cannibal in the sense that he eats the magic of other creatures? Is he a cannibal in the sense that he literally eats other creatures? That's what we need to define, not like a baseline of what cannibalism is, because we might make another creature somewhere down the line that's a cannibal in a different type of way. If an orc eats a giant or troll, is that cannibalism? I don't know. Maybe. Probably. Feel like if they come from the same, like that's like saying if If a gorilla eats an orangutan, is it cannibalism? I'd probably say it is. It's close enough. It's still weird as fuck to see, but I don't think it actually matters what we call it. What we need to know is, what does this character do? We don't need to get so involved in the minutia or the details of defining what's the cutoff for each character's definition of cannibalism. Like, that would be a whole stream in and of itself, trying to define the cutoff lines for all the different races in D&D. Siler. Damn, that was a good show. That first season, I don't know about the later seasons, but that first season of Hero was a good show. I like the idea of power gained from the consumption of X. Yeah, I agree. Like, I think that's the key, is that we know that this character, right, this creature ascends in power through eating something. We just need to decide, right? And it's really up to you guys in the chat what direction we take it. But what is what is the what is the quote unquote cannibal eating? What is the most interesting or different would probably be the way to go. Because, yeah, if it's souls, there are a lot of creatures that eat souls. You could always do souls, but ooh, that's interesting. I'm thinking that maybe the cannibal has physically taken on traits of other beings. You are what you eat. Okay, so maybe we just go like a kind of different direction is when we say cannibal. Maybe it's that he literally eats the creatures, but he's eaten so many different creatures, right? Like, just both in terms of quantity and then the diversity of the types, that like his physical appearance is like a mixture of all of these different strange entities. Yeah, that would be cool. It's just like this roaming monster that literally just consumes. Because imagine like the thing gets so powerful that it just like fucking eats a dragon. You know? Jeepers creepers. Let's see. Ooh. Bro, okay. So, I'm gonna read the chat here in a second, but like, what if originally, like, whatever race of sentience this thing was, is like, what if initially this creature did it for like scientific purposes? Like, he wanted to see what eating different creatures would result in, right? So he starts off just for the sake of science and experiment, but then like he has obviously this result of he ate, 10 different creatures, and then his body started to kind of meld or transform, and the urge to continue, like he like almost like the lizard in the Amazing Spider-Man, where he thinks that like these creatures are like the evolvement. So instead of trying to turn other people into it, it's like he's addicted to this sense of evolving himself through consuming other creatures. That would be fucking cool. Uh, Catboy says, I mean, you don't have to be powerful to eat a dragon. I mean, you gotta be powerful enough to kill a dragon or get it killed. LOL. Ron Oscar says, gaseous creature that eats other gas, aka the oxygen with the lungs. It checks in but doesn't check out. Could it be an addiction? Him and the DM had a falling out over that. Wait, what? Cowboy? Anger Meatball says, sorry, folks. Looks like you'll have to go on without me. Hope everything's okay, but no worries. Yeah, we'll definitely send you the highlights. Of course, I'm sure we'll have the doc in the Discord here by tomorrow. So, over the cannibalism thing. Wait, what? Catboy, I'm so confused by what you're saying right now. Who had a falling out with the DM? The cannibal? What did the cannibal do? Uh, evolution. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry, because I was, when you're saying DM, I'm thinking of like a normal DM and not the dungeon master. Um, Maybe I don't know. I don't think the dungeon master cares about that kind of thing though. Ron Roscoe says, "I guess ate the DM." So what Catboy's talking about is we have another demigod that we were working on earlier, that literally is called the dungeon master. So we said that he would be like the master of your world's mega dungeon, right? Like, so think of like a Hallister Blackcloak type. So a replacement for that. Um, and effectively his goal is to study like sentient creatures by creating these, you know, uh, cost reward incentives. You have this dungeon that's super dangerous and you're likely to die, but if you don't, you can find great reward and training and leveling and things like that. All of these great things. So he does it purely to see how far he can push people to spur and grow and things of that nature. So it would be interesting if maybe they knew each other. They could have had a falling out, but that would assume that the dungeon master would be opposed to um, what the cannibal's doing, and I just don't think the cannibal would care. Or rather, I don't think the dungeon master would care. He seems like kind of a dick. Like, I think the dungeon master's probably the kind of guy, as long as he's not getting eaten, he doesn't really care what happens to anyone else or anything else. But that's just me. Hmm. Now this is one. It could be. It could go a couple of different ways. This guy could wander the prime material, but I feel like at a certain point he becomes too powerful that you can't just leave him there. So he's got to be banished somewhere. And this is one where the abyss or wherever your demons are located would make sense. But all right, let's see. I'm gonna go ahead and spin another one so we can see how many of these we can get. Yeah, he would. You're right, Catboy. He definitely would need to be trapped somewhere. Otherwise, he's not. He is not gonna be. It's not gonna be good. That's for sure. It's not gonna be good at all. But somewhere where he can find a way to increase his power more and hopefully break out. Yeah, that's why I think the abyss is like a good fit for him because it's chaotic, right? There's a variety or diversity in terms of the creatures. Like obviously they're all demons, but that's also something that he wouldn't have found on the prime material. So after a certain point, he eats all these different creature types, basically ascends in power. Someone or something is eventually going to come along the way and say, like, yeah, bro, you can't be doing that here, and sends him to the abyss. And then in the abyss, he's kind of given the opportunity to continue to do his thing, right? Because relative to some of these demons, he's going to be very powerful, and he's also very intelligent because he's some kind of scientist. So he eats those, and then he probably asserts his dominance to a certain degree in the abyss with the hope that one day he's going to escape it. So I think that's interesting. I think that's a very interesting character. Because it's the kind of thing like his hunger and desire to evolve almost, well, not almost, like literally overtakes the humanity in him. Or, I say humanity, but humanoidity, whatever he is. Alright, let me go ahead and spin. I need to stop saying that. Roll the dice. Let's see. See which one we're going to do next. And 3, 2, 1, 74. The last one on the list. Let's see, which one was 74? The Waymaker. Okay. Alright. Feel free to throw out suggestions, anyone, but what do we think of when we hear the Waymaker as some sort of demigod or powerful creature or entity? He knows the way. I knew someone was going to make the joke. I should have known it would be you. The Waymaker. Let's see. Let's see if I can find some inspiration. What would the Waymaker be? So he's the first of these I would say is good. Yeah, probably. He's definitely the first one that's not yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean the faded could be considered good, but I'd say that the faded is probably good depending on which version you're going with. If you're going with a group, their goal of trying to stop calamity is clearly good, but I think they would probably do that at any cost. Um, a completely awful person. Uh, you think that the Waymaker is an awful person, Catboy? Ron Roscoe asked, "Do all these things have an agenda?" When you say agenda, do you mean like they have like an ambition or a goal? Because no, they don't have to. But otherwise, what do you mean by an agenda? Oh, most of them before the Waymaker. Yeah, yeah, definitely 90% of what we've done so far. But that's just how the dice roll sometimes. Most beings do have some kind of agenda. That's correct. Yeah, like, could he just be tasked with something to do, sort of like the boatman for the River Styx? Yeah, he could. Um, he could actually maybe be a guide in the Astral Sea, because the Sea will have some significance in my campaign and world building. But I don't know if Waymaker is the best. Well, yeah, I guess he knows the way, so why not? Yeah, I like that idea too. And I like, especially if it is like a place like the Astral Sea, because it's so dynamic, right? And so like little is understood about it by the normal person, that instead of it being like, you know, how I say it, because knowing when you're typically a guide, it's the same way every single time, right? But you can have this idea within the Astral Sea, like maybe the path literally needs to be created. If you want to get from point A to point B, you have to know how to make the path that leads you there. You can't just assume that the way you got there last time is going to work this time, because it's always moving and changing and once again dynamic. Uh, Laugh out loud, that could be his prayer calling, sort of like how people say God knows best. Praise the Waymaker as he knows the way. I like that. Feel like it's missing a little piece. I can't put my finger on it, but hold on, let me type this out. Guide of the Astral Sea helps lost travelers their way. Shouldn't be find. Make their path. Let's see. try rephrasing this. Yeah, I kind of imagine this as like a deity that you would hope to never meet, because if you have to meet the Waymaker, you probably have fucked up severely. You are severely lost. All right. Yeah. You'd be happy to see him show up, but at the same time, never want him to. Exactly. Like, it's the kind of thing, like, you have to be grateful to him because you know that he's the only thing saving you from a situation that requires him to be there. If you see him, it's both a good and bad thing because he could be your salvation, but, like, the fact is that you need salvation in the first place. So, So I like that phrase. Pray to the waymaker that you may never need his guidance. Kind of encapsulates that idea very well. Because I don't imagine that if you go to the astral sea that the waymaker just makes himself known to everyone. I think he's the kind of guy that probably shows up to people who, either ended up in the astral sea without the intention to be there, or maybe they even intended to but didn't understand what they were doing. You know, what do we think the Waymaker looks like? Interesting. Maybe he looks different to everyone. I like that. Well, okay. I like that with an asterisk because there's got to be something that. Because I don't imagine the Waymaker being talkative. Like, if anything, I imagine him being deadpan silent at all times. But, like, there has to be at least one thing that's consistent no matter what his appearance is. So that way people know that it has to be him, if that makes sense. Like, he could look different, but, like, maybe there's an item or something that he wears. Ooh. Now, the thing that's saucy with this is there could be another creature that tries to pretend to be the Waymaker. That, like, tries to consume or hurt or kill creatures that make their way into the astral sea by pretending that they're the Waymaker. He's a cloak wrapped around a vision of your goal. What do you mean, Ron Roscoe? He's a cloak. What's a what's a mundane item that's very yeah, that's what I'm going for, Catboy. No feet, no body, nothing. Maybe. Uh yeah, like I'm thinking that maybe he has like a bell or something, you know. Like just some small mundane item that he carries with him to show who he is. And maybe this creature that mimics him doesn't know about the item, right? Or there's not a way to copy the item. Because maybe the creature just does the same thing that the Waymaker does, in that he shows a vision of what am I trying to say? Shows a vision of what is most soothing to the viewer. Yin and yang. Hmm. Yeah, because like then the idea would be, whereas the evil creature only shows them what they want to see, the Waymaker has something that is not specific to the person. Maybe they have the same item but opposite. Oh, I like that. I'll wait for you to get back. Let me know when you're back. Uh-oh, commercial break time, boys. Oh shit. I got some water in my eye. BRB. Alright, take your time, Catboy. Yeah, I like the idea. Like maybe they're two halves to the same whole. So what would the item be though? What encapsulates that? Because then it could be a thing of like it's easy to confuse them because the item is so similar. So you're risking you don't know which one it is. And the other beauty of it is that if you go with the wrong one, there's no story to tell. You know what I mean? Like no one who gets lost in the astral sea would likely live to tell the tale if they go with um, the misleading creature, right? So you only come back and tell the tale if you walked into the Waymaker. So there'd literally be no reason for there to be stories to tell about the second creature, but it would in fact exist. Hmm. Yin and yang. What's a good item that could be split in half or has an easy opposite? Like one being a reflection of the person needing help, and maybe the other one lures with desire and shows a reflection of what the person wants rather than what they need. Okay. Hmm. Hmm. Per- So it's hard to tell what you desire rather than what you need. So it becomes difficult to tell which one it is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like we're on the right track. I just feel like the phrasing isn't what it needs to be. Mm, because it's also a thing of I don't know how many people are actually getting lost in the astral sea, but and so the item to tell them apart is really based on the individual and requires reflection. Well, I ideally there would be a constant, right? Like either the appearance has to be constant or the item has to be constant because you want it to be like you want to have the challenge and then you want to have the easy giveaway because you imagine a kid getting lost in a place and the reason why they fail to escape the place is because they failed to remember the important factor, right? So you get lost in the woods and you know that your guiding spirit is a fox, but you see a wolf, right? And the wolf wants to guide you, so you follow the wolf and then the wolf eats you, right? So in the macro, that small minutia of the difference between the fox and the wolf being a guardian versus uh, a I don't know what the word would be, but someone that wants to do wrong by you is easy to tell, but also easy to miss in the chaos. Those so you like remember a tale about being wary of a woman with a red scarf, but the woman with the blue is cool. Exactly, right? Like it's a small detail, but it's very specific, right? Because because once again, from this perspective, you'd have to imagine that like let's say it's the woman, just to keep it simple. If there's a woman with a blue scarf that's the Waymaker, but you go into the astral sea and you see a woman with a red scarf, right? In this instance, there would be no reason for you to know about the woman with the red scarf. So if you paid enough attention and you thought about it, you would know that there's a red flag. But also, in most people's cases, they would look at the red scarf and just say, "Oh, well, maybe the stories were slightly off, and it's a red scarf, not a blue scarf. Who am I to question, this being that wants to save me?" So you follow the red scarf, and you die. And welcome back, Catboy. Sorry. Got on a little tangent there. Like with King Snake, red and yellow kill a fellow, red and black safe for Jack. Yeah, exactly. It's a small, minor detail. Like even that whole thing, like it could just be that the literal difference. Like I kind of like the idea of a scarf because it's simple. So like maybe the what the Waymaker shows you is literally a reflection of yourself, and then it's wearing just a specific item, right? So that item could just simply be that it wears a blue scarf. Well, like, what do you do if you reject them? I think that depends. Depends on how powerful we want to make the second creature. With the Waymaker, it probably doesn't matter because the Waymaker, I wouldn't imagine, is going to force somebody to follow it. So, uh, I would imagine that this is a trap predator, right? So I don't imagine it being extremely powerful on its own without the proper quote unquote win conditions. So yeah, I would imagine that it tries to persist and convince. I'm gonna just put blue scarf for now. That'll be our placeholder. Gang, gang. Welcome to the chat, Alyssa. Catboy says, I would think the Waymaker would just leave anyone who attacks him to their fate. Yeah, I completely agree. Right? So the Waymaker isn't going to force anyone to follow them. He's just going to move on, right? He's powerful in his own right, but he wouldn't, like, he probably wouldn't fight you. He would just, it's the Astral Sea. He can literally just bamf out. So he just leaves. But but that's the whole thing. There's so limited knowledge. So like when you see the quote unquote Waymaker and then you tell him to fuck off because you think it's not him, and then he persists and persists and persists, so finally you follow the dude, right? The thing is, once you follow him, you're in the Astral Sea, so he can literally take you anywhere. Like a creature that can navigate the Astral Sea doesn't have to be technically powerful because they can take you anywhere. So once you follow it, it can have a trap set up for you. So I just imagine it being this parasitic style creature that like effectively is just mimicking the ability to appear as something comfortable to the viewer, but then like isn't necessarily super strong. It's just smart. So it tricks you, convinces you to follow it, and then leads you somewhere in the Astral Sea where it has all of its win conditions set up, and then consumes you, or does whatever it wants to you at that point. But whatever this item is, right, because it's mimicking what you find comforting, it's not going to have that asterisk attached to it because it does not know that the Waymaker wears, the quote unquote blue scarf. But I think in terms of what they look like, I think they would be basically formless on their own. So like I like the idea of it just being a formless set of robes or something to that effect. It's colorblind. That would be a good one too. Yeah, maybe it doesn't see color. Well, it would have to understand color to a certain point because it's mimicking like skin and other clothing just fine. Unless we just say that it's literally it mimics it, but it's gray. Oh shit, that's perfect. That's perfect. It doesn't have to wear anything then. It mimics what you find comforting. So like let's say it's your mom, but your mom is completely gray. The creature doesn't see color. So that's your cue is that yeah, it's the thing that you find comforting, but there's no color to it. Why is there no color? Was this how it's supposed to be? Damn. Okay, I like that. So we'll just get rid of that point. Is unable to mimic color. Wait, why only the color purple, Alyssa? I like that, Ron Roscoe. Because then that's perfect. There doesn't have to be any extra item or any specific to it. It's just literally the Waymaker can see color, the other creature cannot. Simplicity. Simple is better a lot of times. Um, that's good. I mean, I think that gives us what we need, but I was gonna say the rainbow, but I thought that was dumb, so purple came in my head first. Fair enough. Alright, well, I think that pretty much sums it, because the Waymaker is going to be pretty simple. And yes, I do agree that there would likely be some folklore or tales or poems, as you mentioned earlier, Ron Roscoe, that associate with that. But if you guys have more ideas, feel free to keep throwing them out. But I'm going to go ahead and spin and see if we can get another couple done. We've got a little over an hour left. So I'm going to go ahead and plug this one more time here. For those who were not here at the beginning of the stream, one of my old employees actually used to work for me is going through a pretty rough patch, so I'm trying to help him out by sharing this. He's got a GoFundMe going, so he can hopefully get out of a pretty tough situation that he is in. So do not feel obligated to donate, but if you care to do so, anything is appreciated. Or even if you just share it with others, I would appreciate it. The GoFundMe should be up through the end of the month, so I'll post this link in my Discord, or not my Discord, in my chat every hour that I stream up until the GoFundMe is over to try to help them out and get some visibility on that. You can also, if you need the link, just put !donate and it will pull up. So let's see. Let me go ahead and probably should open up the dice roller. And then let's switch it. And let's roll the dice. And 3, 2, 1, 60. I wonder if we're going to get a 69 today. Let's see, number 60. Number 60, The Long Night. All right. This one's going to be interesting because I don't think of anything immediately when I read this. So this could literally become anything. But what do we think of, chat, when we hear The Long Night and we try to think of some type of creature or entity in relation to that? Thinking of winter. Winter is coming. Winter's on the way. That's fair. Um, I am. That's me. Okay. Hmm. Is that what they called it in Game of Thrones? The Long Night? We can always change it. Oh no, I never watched it. The Long Night. I almost think of like, I don't know, like I almost think of Darkrai from Pokemon. Like I think of like a creature that basically like traps someone in their dreams to where they can't wake up. And then within, I don't know what it's doing to them while they can't wake up, but I imagine they're having some type of nightmare or. Oh shit. What if it. Well, yeah, but what if it doesn't actually put them in a coma? Like, what if their physical body and their soul get separated? And their soul gets sent somewhere? Like, I'm imagining, like, the only thing is it's kind of finicky to try to do this because the only place your soul can really go and be effectively useful separate from your body is typically the astral sea. But, like, imagine a creature that, like, takes your soul to the Shadowfell. Like, obvious to the outside that they have been touched by the long night. Well, what would that do to their physical form? Yeah, that's the finicky part because, like, when you go to the astral sea, your physical body could just be in a coma like state. So, but if you take someone's soul to the Shadowfell, what could your soul even do at that point? I mean, unless we say that your soul could manifest there. There's no reason it couldn't, but. Ooh. Okay. That would make sense. The Long Night is the opposition to the Waymaker. I don't know if I would say the opposition to the Waymaker in this case, because there are many ways to get to the astral sea, but you could just it could be more than one opposition, because I imagine there's the one that kind of mimics the Waymaker, but then like this one is like What if it takes you there, and then if it finds you again inside of the fucking astral sea, it devours you? Yeah. Like it literally, like the goal is the same. You would still hope the Waymaker saves you, right? Because this thing does want to send you there to eat it. But there could be multiple things that want to consume you in the astral sea. There doesn't just have to be one. So as opposed to being like the yin yang comparison, like this other creature we're describing, I just think this is a completely separate entity. But your hope is still the same. If you know what the Waymaker is, you're praying that the Waymaker finds you before this other thing does. But I imagine it being like literally like a knight on horseback, like hunting you down, chasing you because it enjoys the thrill or sport. Now the question is, how does it get you to the astral sea? Because it has to exist within the astral sea. Ooh. If we say that, because astral sea is like literally connected to everything, maybe the creature enters the nightmares of children and then pulls them into the astral sea. Maybe not even children. It doesn't necessarily have to be children, but I would imagine it has no body, like no physical form, because you don't need one in the astral sea. I don't know that it wants to steal a body though, because this is such a powerful creature that the ability to steal a body in this case would be trivial. Like it would be too easy. There would be no story to tell there because the likelihood that this creature can't steal one body is it's not plausible. You know what I mean? Like for a creature that can traverse the astral sea at will, why does it care about a physical form on the material realm? And even if it does, even if we say that is the end goal, is it plausible to say that a creature that powerful that it could pull people into the astral sea is going to have any challenge in not getting a body? You know what I mean? Like it's not a plausible challenge. You just feel a chill and then you or someone near you collapses. Hmm. I like the idea. It's just it becomes murky because if it doesn't have a physical form, it's hard for it to justify it manifesting in the material realm or existing in the material realm. What I could see is if we say that like dreams are connected to the astral sea, is that literally this thing is searching for nightmares. So it goes around and searches for nightmares throughout the astral sea, and when it sees one, it goes into the nightmare and pulls the soul of said child or person into the astral sea. And then that soul gets pulled in, and then the creature hunts, you know, said person, attempting to consume their soul. In Final Fantasy, was that 14? It is funny that you mentioned that game. Someone here likes that game. Because you could still have the thing be like maybe when a creature gets pulled in, and that's like one of the tells, because it, when it enters the nightmare, that's about as close as it gets to the prime material realm. So when it pulls a creature into the astral sea, maybe in a certain vicinity, like so within a household, for let's say, everyone feels like an intense chill, right? And then obviously whoever got pulled, they're not waking up. So what would the lore be for its name? The name is because so from my perspective, the way that I think about it is with this being like a relatively formless creature, it might be similar to the Waymaker or the other creature in taking multiple forms. Is most people probably don't wake up from the long night, right? So it's the kind of thing that there are rumors and stories about it, but the lore is like, hey, when you feel this chill and someone in your home falls asleep, they're not waking up, right? Like you, magic isn't gonna bring them back. Medicine isn't gonna bring them back. They're in this coma for, you know, probably until their body just gives out and can't support their life anymore. But that's why you would call it the long night, because it's like the long nightmare. It's the nightmare that you're gonna go to sleep one day, have a bad dream, and then you can't wake up. So now it feels like Freddy Krueger. Oh man, not intentional, but that is the trick about these things, right? Is there's never any idea that's gonna feel 100% um, original because someone has always done something similar. Ooh, that would be kind of saucy. Like imagine like a 1 mile radius of you feel this chill. Like you're in a town and you just are praying when you wake up with the chill. You're praying that it's not your son or daughter. All advancement is built on pre-established thought, like how we remade Santa. Poor Santa. Yeah. Yeah, that's. I mean, that's my thought. Is like it's the kind of thing that you, because of where the soul is going. It's like the Waymaker in the sense that you only know these preliminary details because the only way you're gonna know anything more about the long night is if someone survives it, which would have to be super rare, right? Like if we say one out of every 10,000 people who gets taken survives, then those stories are gonna be, not everyone's gonna hear that story, but the story you're gonna hear is of the kid who, everyone in the village felt a chill one night and little Tommy never woke up again, right? His body wasn't gone, but it was always in a fever as he laid there until he died, right? Until one day he just stopped moving. But he wouldn't wake up no matter how many days or how many nights passed. So, like, you would almost think in some parts of the world, they don't even think this is a creature. They just think it's a disease. That one day people lay down and they catch this virus or this disease and they never are able to wake up again. Cabo says, and all of their stories would be different because of how it comes to them. Exactly, right? Everyone's experience is going to be slightly different. The only consistents are going to be the randomness, right? Be, the fact that the creature has to be sleeping, so you know that this is happening while someone's asleep. And even that is kind of vague. In some instances, you might not know. The fact that everyone within a certain vicinity feels this chill, right? So you're able to tell if you have any experience with it that someone has, fallen into this state, and that in most cases they don't wake up. Ron Roscoe says, nice, I like how it's viewed as a disease and preys on the nightmares, so they just think it's an extension of the nightmare. Exactly. There's nothing, like it's like the I keep making the comparison because we just did it, but like it's like the Waymaker's antithesis. You would know about the Waymaker because if you found the Waymaker, you likely found safety, which means you came back home and you had a story to tell. But if you found the guy that was pretending to be the Waymaker and followed him, you wouldn't come back. So if you're not coming back, there's no detail to give. So the likelihood that anyone knows about this creature is so small because you'd have to be that super small percentage that followed the wrong dude and then somehow got away. So I think that's super, super interesting. Catboy says, crab? Oops. All right. Not sure what's going on. Lol. I forgot I had this window focused, not the game window. Probably FF14. That'd be my guess. Alright, let's see. We got 40 minutes, I think. Yeah, just under 40 minutes. So we'll try to do at least one or two more. FF14, I was searching for something in the market. That makes sense. I think we know what you were searching for. Believe it or not. Let's see if we can get at least one more done. Depending on how long it takes, maybe I'll start searching for our raid for tonight. But maybe we can get two. And in 3, 2, 1, 62. Alright. 62, the Oath Keeper. Okay, well, this seems like a more positive one. Alright, boys, what do we think of when we hear the Oath Keeper? Crab Ragoon. Hell yeah, I love crab ragoons. I wish there were more good Chinese spots where I live. There's not many. And the ones that are pretty good are like way too long of a drive to justify. I think good guy, yeah. I could almost see it being like not even necessarily a good or a bad guy. Yeah, exactly, Catboy. We're on the same track. He goes after those who break oaths. But like I think it would have to be pretty specific because otherwise this dude's just gonna be hunting everybody down. But I think it's the kind of thing like maybe this guy, you know, this creature exists that if you swear an oath on his name and you break the oath, he will hunt you and kill you. Yeah, exactly. Like a paladin looking dude, right? So, like, maybe you have a business deal and you want to make sure that this motherfucker is telling the truth. So, you swear on the oath keeper. And when you make that pact and you swear it, if you break it, you know that you're risking that this supposed entity is going to come and fucking kill you or do whatever with you. Have you looked into the Ironsworn game yet? This would fit perfectly with that, as breaking the vow is like death. I have not yet, but that does sound cool. Yeah, like I just imagine it being like a guy, like literally a paladin looking creature that maybe takes your soul or something as forfeit for breaking an oath. In Ironsworn, you say a vow putting blood to iron. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that does that. There's this book I'm reading that you swear on your soul, and like literally, if you break the oath after swearing on your soul, it will tear your soul apart. So that would that be something for this? I don't. I feel like how would we invoke it? Oh no. Okay, making this even better. Okay, so to make it make more sense, because it would be kind of weird, it has to be niche. But you have to seek out the Oath Keeper, is how I would imagine it. So instead of it being a thing where you just generically swear it, is the oath, it's like a service, right? So the Oath Keeper will literally watch over the swearing. So like you could, have a wedding, you could have a business deal, you could have any vow, and if you want to prove your loyalty, you literally swear it not to, but in front of the Oath Keeper. And then when you make that pact, if you break it, the Oath Keeper will know, and he will hunt your ass down. That's true, you would, but that's part of what makes it rare. That's not supposed to be a creature that just goes around casually killing people who use its name and then break a vow, because that would be a lot of people, you know? And it's not supposed to be an inherently bad creature either. But this would probably be, like, as far as difficulty defined goes, but it just adds weight, right? You can't casually go find a demigod and swear in front of it. Maybe the Oath Keeper could never be seen except to those where it's too late and they're like temple statues or something. Yeah, that's okay. I see where you're going. So like maybe it's not even a for those. I like that. Okay, cool. Because that's what I was trying to think through right now. Is but Dragon Craze says, "Oh hi, hello, Dragon Craze." Catboy says, "Oh yeah, watch me." Yeah, so maybe it's just a temple. So the place is known, and the process of swearing in the temple is known, right? And you know what happens when you break it, but you don't see what the Oathkeeper looks like besides statues and figures and things like that until you've already fucked up. Yeah, I like that. You could go to the Oathkeeper's temple and swear there because that's much more. I like that. How are you doing, Dragon Craze? Okay, let's see. Uh, like it takes a trek like the mountain high up the monks, so you have to really want to be there. Doing good, trying to figure out stuff for the homebrew world. Nice, world building is fun. Yeah, I finally figured out the rename for the tiefling race. What's the rename gonna be? Um, yeah, I like this idea a lot. I like the idea that it's difficult and obscure enough that, as you said, you would really have to want to be there, or you'd have to be forced to go. Like I could see that maybe certain like I could even see it being a thing because it's even though it's difficult, it's accessible, which makes it unique or different compared to other gods or demigods because usually they're not so accessible. But maybe it's this thing of like maybe certain governments or certain establishments, like maybe there's a king where all of his royal guards, when you want to become a royal guard, you have to go up the mountain and swear fealty to the king and to always serve the king under the rule of the oathkeeper, you know. So like you could even be in theory forced to swear an oath that now if you break, in theory your life is going to be forfeit. Let's see. A primitive form of probation or repentance. Asterin, it deals with stars. Asterin. Cool. Dig it. Yeah, I like that idea a lot because it's just flexible. The creature isn't so much the interesting part, but the dynamic of the oath, right? Because you may even go, you might just not believe in it, and you might do anything to get this deal or reward or to make your lie pass. So someone says, "Okay, swear it on the oath keeper," and you climb the mountain and make the oath and immediately break it because you don't believe in the superstition. And lo and behold, hmm, that's very interesting. Let's see. We're coming up with some good ideas tonight. What's wild is we haven't even scratched what? Let's see. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Literally 10. Exactly 10. So that means we got 64 more on here. Yeah, we're definitely going to have to do another deep dive. Oh, Catboy, what should we do next week? Or anyone, actually. Technically, Monday starts a new cycle. Yeah, we always do that shit at the same time. We basically you type what I'm saying. But yeah, we need to pick a new topic for next week. If anyone has a suggestion for a topic for world building, I'm all ears. We've done enough at this point that we could always retouch something, but I'm new, so I don't know. But map building. Yeah, actually, that's one that I've been planning to do. I don't know if that would be a good format for 3 streams though. Because the thing is, I already have a map. I just need to detail it. So I was thinking that maybe I would do like a long stream or like do a specific stream where I just build out that map and update it on stream with you guys. But I don't know if that's enough for, what is it, 10 hours of content? Maybe it is. I mean, worst case scenario. Yeah, well, fuck it. Let's do it. Let's do it because I need to start working on that map anyways. So next week we will do uh, we'll do the map. So it'll be a little different in terms of the format because it's not really a deep dive, so to speak. So Monday when I get on stream, I will, instead of throwing up my OneNote, I will throw up the map in Incarnate, and then you guys can come help give suggestions as I edit it. And then if I get it to a point where I don't feel like I'm doing anything meaningful on the stream, um, then I'll just we'll go back and do a deep dive on one of the other topics that we already have fleshed out. But yeah, fuck it, why not? It's a good way to get it done. I've been meaning to do it for a while, so let's see. Because in my world, the tieflings don't come from the layers Hell's Abyss. Instead, they are from the Inland Peninsula. Peninsula of Stars is then, instead of their powers coming from the layer they are from, they garner their powers from the constellation they are born under. That's cool. I like that. And yes, I have custom constellations. Ron Roscoe says it's a way to force you to at least start. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, because I need to get it done. So I may as well. I think it's a good call. Hey, Ron Roscoe, I see you just joined the server. Welcome to the Discord. Okay, so let's do. Fuck it, let's do one more spin, and then we will see where we end up. Because at that point, let's see, we got 20 minutes left. Yeah, a little over 20 minutes. So regardless, at that point, we'll call it good, and then we'll start looking for who we're gonna raid slash, what's gonna go on from there. Hmm. What am I looking for? Here we go. Alright, let's roll these dice one last time. What number is it gonna be? In 3, 2, 1. 29. Lucky winner 29. Alright, let's see. What is 29? Sisters of Salt. Okay. Last one of the night. Sisters of Salt. What do we think of when we hear Sisters of Salt, gentlemen? And ladies, if there are any ladies out there. Strangely enough, I'm thinking of money. Sisters of Salt may be similar to Fates, but they focus solely on sailors who cross the oceans. Oh, okay, I see what you mean. What do you mean, Catboy? What do you mean by money, though? What about money? What are they doing with money, Catboy? Tell me. The term salary comes from the Roman term for a soldier's allowance to buy salt. Oh, that's actually really interesting. I never even knew that. Could also use the phrase if you're worth your salt in reference to them, basically meaning if you're fated to do it. Okay. So what would they do though in your instance, Dragon Craze? Like what exactly? What would the story behind the sisters be? Ron Roscoe says, I think of hard work. Okay. But what about hard work? Dragon Craze said, have you ever heard the saying, red sky at night, sailors delight, red sky at morning, sailors take warning? The sisters could be in charge of something like that. Okay. So, so what would you? I'm trying to picture it. So, what would you think? Like, so you thinking like maybe one sister is a good sign, whereas the other sister is a bad omen, maybe? Let's see. You expel salt through hard work via sweat. Also, the sisters could each represent a possible fate for the sailor. One could be a successful mission, one could be a failed mission, and the last could be the drowned sister. Okay, that's fair. I don't know why in my head I immediately envisioned two sisters, but there could be three sisters. Yeah, I think the C one is definitely the most expandable one. So I'm gonna say, we'll say three sisters who represent different possible fates for sailors at sea. One offers the best fate. The sailor. The second. Failure. The third offers demise. So you have success, failure, demise would be your three. We'll say success. So when you... Interesting. I like that idea. Because failing is obviously a lot better than being dead. Funny you say Fates. Greek mythology, the Fates were three old women, and this spun the strings of human destiny. Yeah, I think that's what Dragon Craze was alluding to earlier, as it being similar to them. It just, for some reason in my mind, the three wasn't clicking until just now. I was thinking of them as two people. Let's see. Hey, there's me. Let's see. Trying to find a good world building stream that we can hop into for a little bit and say hello, but there's not a lot of world building streams. Let's see. It also offers the possible intrigue. If you want a successful mission, you try to appease both the successful sister and the drowned sister. And if someone wants a mission to fail, they secretly give offering. Yeah, I got you. I got you, Dragon Craze. I like that idea. See, that's why we like having you. You have good ideas. Whew. Hard and they're making us crazy. Give up on me, baby. Let's see, where is that? I think I know how I'm gonna do, but I cannot find them. I guess they were around the 7 mark. Where was it? Yeah, fuck it. What would be even more interesting if they are triplets basically looking the same but different, if that makes sense. Yes, it does. Alright. So we are going to raid this stream. This one's going to be a little different than what I normally like to do, because it's not a world building stream specifically. But I see that this channel is doing their first ever D&D stream. So I think that's worth a raid. Going in, saying hello, being nice. I don't know how much they're even going to talk to the chat in this case, but either way, go show some support, show some love. So we got about 8 minutes, but there's not going to be enough time to do another roll. So we're going to go ahead and raid in there, say hello. I'll stay in there and talk with you guys for a little bit. So thank you so much for coming out, spending the night with me. Let me create the raid and then set the channel. So we're going to go ahead and head on over there. But as always, guys, thank you guys so much. On Monday, we will be working on my map. So definitely tune in. It'll be a little different, but it should be a good time. And let's head over. See you guys next time. Peace.